A lot of people spit out the term postmodernism without really understanding what it refers to. Postmodernist art can be defined as art that sees itself as art and understands that it's art, at least that's on the bigger picture. Popular examples on postmodernism in plastic arts could be the infamous journal that was once submitted to an art gallery. Now, what's postmodernism in literature? This literary current appeared during the post war movement after the Second World War. It's categorized as an experimental genre for the main characteristics. It's usually attributed to the 80s. Now, the characteristics on postmodernism are metafiction. The book is aware and makes the reader aware that whatever is being consumed is a book. That means immersion is stopped by the author himself to remind everyone of the medium rather than the story. Or reliable narration. This meant that characters could be often lying or changing reality while giving the information to the audience. This would make the case for books where narrators were insane or would just tell everything from their perspective, giving the opportunity to more complex dynamics. Finally, self reflection. We would often find characters rambling through pages before acting about anything. This would make an atmosphere more about the psychological depths that involve the human condition rather than the actions, giving the genre an extensive space for analyzing philosophy, relativism, and even metaphysics.
Important authors and their craft. Kurt Vonnegut, American writer. He published 14 novels in a career that spanned across 50 plus years. His most important work was Slaughterhouse 5, one very important anti-war novel that told the story of its main character through all stages of life, from childhood to military to the post-modern war years. It's one of the biggest literary works against war, and it did a lot of postmodernism, especially with a little science fiction side deciphered from the book. The main character travels through time. James Joyce, a critic, a poet, and an Irish writer, and the creator of Ulysses, a piece that functions as a companion piece to Homer's Odyssey, but changing context and bringing it to the events of the modern world. Irving Welsh, the surprisingly Scottish writer, is known for depicting the ugly side of European culture. His most known work, Trainspotting, tells the story of different people involved with heroin. It depicted the cruel reality behind drugs with somewhat a comedic tone.
Another important figure when it comes to postmodernism is The Little Prince. This French novel is usually targeted towards child demography, but it's one of the greatest works of postmodernism and arguably the most famous. It tells the story of the little prince and his surrealistic friends and his travel across the universe. But it's all embellished in this almost existentialist tone that we can find in a novel by Sartre, for example. You get two completely different experiences while reading this book. If you were a kid, you will probably see it as some kind of science fiction fantasy expedition, but if you're an adult, you can also read it as the meaning of life in childhood. It's a deeply uh, complex story, and it's really worth the attention of everybody, no matter the age.
Postmodernism is in some way the fall of many tropes from older times. It was an alternative that mixed ideas and even philosophical or sociological concepts within the realms of great writing. And what makes postmodernism special is that it never results in moralism, in the easy say no to drugs mindset. It was arguably the most important movement of its time since the influences are still seen. Art that understands itself as art was an idea many denied, a concept that scared purists. But that was the idea. It was groundbreaking, and if you ever want to make people mad, you'll have to do it.